what would happen to all the animals if we all went vegan? Would they overrun us, or would we have to slaughter them all and discard their bodies? This is an argument that's used a lot to justify not going vegan, and it's quite an interesting argument because I think at face value it is quite confusing to try and work out what would happen to the animals if the world went vegan. Now, I think the best place to start with this is to understand that the production of animal products works on a supply and demand basis, meaning that when we go into a supermarket and we buy certain products, we demand that they be supplied. Now, farmers aren't going to breed animals they know they can't sell because quite simply it's not economically viable. Now, if we add to this and consider the fact that the world isn't going to go vegan overnight, it's going to be a gradual process over a long period of time. What this will mean is that as more and more people go vegan, less and less animals will be bred into production. So by the time the whole world ends up vegan, there won't be a situation where we have billions of animals left over that we either release into the wild or we have to slaughter, because the number of animals that are being bred will have dropped in proportion with the rise of vegans. So a lot of the time the argument then develops onto, well, if we didn't breed these animals, they would go extinct. And there's a few ways of looking at this. The first way to look at it is that these animals wouldn't naturally exist in the wild anyway. We've selectively bred them and modified them so they aren't natural animals to begin with. For instance, dairy cows have been modified to produce up to 10 times more milk than they would naturally, and egg-laying hens have been modified to produce up to 300 eggs a year, vastly more than they would in the wild. Because of these modifications, it is very unlikely that these animals would survive on their own in the wild, and they do need humans to care and look after them in order for them to live. But there will always be sanctuaries and always people who are willing to put the money and the time into looking after these animals and caring for them. Plus, through eradicating animal agriculture, we'd allow our natural habitats, the ones that were destroyed because of animal agriculture, to regrow, and in doing so would allow the natural wildlife and the natural biodiversity to flourish. If we also consider that animal agriculture is vastly responsible for causing the fact that we're in the next largest mass species extinction, it just goes to show that if you truly care about animals and the survival of their species, you have to go vegan.